Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Math with Dr. War. I have another 5-question task review for you, so let's begin. Our first question is on functions, and on the task test, you must be able to identify a function, and this is considered high emphasis. So the question we have before us says, which set of ordered pairs represents y as a function of x? So to determine if ordered pairs is a function, you're going to focus on your x values. So remember, an ordered pair, you have an x value and a y value. Now when you focus on your x values, they must not repeat. So they must be all different or unique. So notice I have 0, 2, negative 5.5 and negative 5.5. Now because these two x values repeat, a is not a function. Let's go to B. Focusing on the x, I have 5, 3, negative 9.2, positive 9.2. All of the x values are different. Therefore, B is a function. Again, in order to be a function, focus on your x values and none of them should repeat. If you look at C, 9.3, 7.3, 7.3. That repeats twice, so this is not a function. If you look at D, you have 8.1, 9.1, 10.1, but notice 9.1 repeats itself, therefore D is not a function. Our second question is from number and quantity, and again we're looking at radicals and rational exponents, and you're going to be using the laws of exponents. This again is high emphasis on the task test. And it says which expression is equivalent to, and you have 144 k squared r raised to the 14th, and then on the outside all of that is raised to the half power. Now our brains doesn't really like our exponents to be fractions, but that's okay. That's okay. So the first thing is that this half has to be distributed to everyone in the parentheses. So the 144 is going to get the half, the k squared is going to be raised to the half, and the r14 is going to be raised to the half. Now because 144 is a number, raising that to the half, our brains is like, what in the world is that? So I'm going to change that to a radical. Now anything that is raised to the half means that that's a square root. Now what's the square root of 144? Now you should know this. The square root of 144 is 12. 12 times 12 is 144. So that should give you some information to eliminate H and also G. Now your k squared is raised to the half power. And remember, when you have a power raised to a power, the operation for the laws of exponents is going to be multiplication. So you're taking 2 and multiplying it by a half. I'm going to make this a fraction. 2 times 1 is 2. 1 times 2 is 2. And then 2 divided by 2 is 1. So your k here is going to be raised to the first power. But you know, we don't write 1. So I'm going to go into my answers because I have F and J. And notice F has k to the first. So my answer is F. If you want to try the R, you have the R, which is raised to the 14th and then raised to the half. Another way you can think about this is, what is half of 14? Half of 14 is 7. Or if you want to go through the mathematics, you take 14, make it a fraction, you're multiplying by a half. 14 times 1 is 14. 1 times 2 is 2. 14 divided by 2 is 7. So because this is a nice fraction such as a half, you could have said, oh, what's a half of 2? 1. What's a half of 14? 7. When it came to the number, that's going to be a little bit tricky. So whenever you have numbers raised to fractional exponents, you're going to write that as the radical. Your brain will computate this much easier than if it was raised to a half. The square root of 144 is 12. Notice we didn't even have to find r to the 7. Once we got that k to the first, we could have identified our answer. Our third problem is on algebra, where we're going to be creating systems of equations. These are high emphasis. So on the task test, you must be able to create equations. These can be just normal linear equations, or they could be systems of linear equations. When they say systems, it means you're going to have two equations. So it says that a customer paid a total of $6 for 68 copies at a print shop. Some of the copies were black and white, and the rest were colored copies. Now each black and white copy costs 8 cents. Each color copy costs 15 cents. Which system of equations can be used to find B and C, the number of colored copies that the customer paid at the print shop? B is for black and white, so I know that the B is going to be with the 8 cents and the C is going to be with the 15 cents. I tell my students when they're solving these problems, patterns is key. Money always goes with money. So you see here where you have the B, which is going to be with the 8 cents, added to the C, which is going to be with the 15 cents. That should equals $6 because money goes with money. So I'm going to go through and look to see where I have 8 cents B and 15 cents C equaling to $6. So here I have my 8 cents B, my 15 cents C, but notice that equals to 68. So we can eliminate A. Over here, notice the 15, which is the color copies, is with the round variable. Eliminate B. C, again, the 15 is with the wrong variable. 15 is supposed to be with C. We can eliminate. So our answer is D. Notice you have the 8 cents with the B, the 15 cents with the C equals to the $6. Now, remember they said that a customer paid a total of $6 for 68 copies. What are the copies? The copies are, you have black and white, and you have colored, and that will be the 68. My fourth question is a geometry question. Now in the geometry, you have to be able to use your volume formulas. This is high emphasis, and the volume formulas they're going to give you or a cylinder, a cone, a sphere, and a pyramid. So here it says the dimension of a rectangular pyramid are shown, and they gave you a pyramid. What is the volume of this rectangular pyramid in cubic feet? Now when you go to the formula page, it's going to say that the volume of a rectangular pyramid, or just a pyramid, it's just going to say a pyramid, is going to be a third. You're going to have a big B, which means area of the base times height. So this does not just mean base. Always look at the key. It means area of the base. So this is a third. Now your base is a rectangle. So to find the area, it's going to be length times width. So this is going to be 4 times 8. And then your height, right here, notice it has the right angle, is 6. These numbers are very small, so this could be non-calculator. So again, if I put this over 1 and put this over 1, you go straight across. So you're going 4 times 8 is 32, and then you're going 32 times 6. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 3 is 18, plus 1 is 19. So that's 192 divided by 3. And then go on the side and take 192 and divide it by 3. So 3 goes into 19 6 times. 6 times 3 is 18. Subtract, I get 1. Now here I can stop. Remember, the task test is time. So sometimes you don't need to go all the way to solve a problem. Once I get 6, I'm going to look at my answers. Where do you see a 6? At C. So your answer is 64. If you want to keep going, bring down the 2. 3 goes into 12 4 times, but we didn't need to do that because there was only 1 6 there. So that's how I knew my answer was C. Last question, statistics and probability. Now I know this looks weird and you're probably saying, is this really in the statistics and probability section? Well, yeah, it is. And it's considered interpreting the intercept of a linear model. So they give you these linear models and you have to be able to interpret your intercepts, which are your x-intercept, your y-intercepts, and also your slope. In this question, it says the water level of a river was measured each day during a 2-week period. The graph models the linear relationship between the water level of the river in feet and the number of days the water level was measured. And here's your graph. And it says which statement best describes the y-intercept of your graph? The y-intercept of your graph is where your line cuts or intersects the y-axis, which is right here at 16. So you're like, okay, my y-intercept is 16. So with that, if you look at these numbers, you right away get your answer as H. Now, here is your y-intercept. It's at 16. And it's at 16 when your x value is 0. So it's telling you that this is the initial. So always remember that the y-intercept is always your initial value because it always occurs when x is 0. I hope these 5 questions were helpful in the 5 areas of function, geometry, number and quantity, statistics and probability, and algebra. Good luck on your Tasc examination, and as always, if you like the content, please subscribe, hit that notification button. Good luck on your Tasc exam.